All right, you guys, welcome to the grand finals where we got Cameron still holding it down with his Frog Hero deck, totally awesome. And we got Mario to the right, also choosing to play totally awesome. We see Cameron start off 1 for 1. He dumps that dandy and then now he just go off. If you guys don't know, substitute plus whatever 1 for 1 plus dandelion equals, I say GG, but it really does equal a huge advantage. It lets you shrink your deck down, and on top of that, you're able to either get swapped back to your hand, or you can set up a double dupe block with substitute with the follow up, right? So a lot of plays, But we do see him start shrinking his deck down, dumping the Treeborn, and it was kind of interesting, I thought he was going to do a different plays, but considering that you're trying to go into totally awesome, this is the correct play. So, and he opens up Stratos on top of that. Damn, he opened up hot. So he's going to end the board with double swap and set up dupe. In this case, he's able to open XYZ for totally awesome, and then with that XYZ, so he did use swap effect to return back to his hand, and then he used both of the swap procs to XYZ for the totally awesome, and then standby phase. If you're not familiar with totally awesome, detaching material and special summon a level 2 aqua from your deck. In this case, you can just special summon another dupe and set up the dupe block. So kudos to Cameron for holding it down with this deck and XYZ. Unfortunately, I couldn't make this event, but he still managed to help me record for this feature match. And we see Mario activate MST, and he does chain the water arts, and we see it's Substitute, Miracle. He's got Gores, Junk, and a Mirror Force. So if it wasn't for this water art, believe it or not, Mario's hand is pretty busted, because he's got totally awesome, but even with totally awesome, he's only going to be able to negate one of these 3 cards. And yeah, that's a smart choice. He gets rid of the gore so he doesn't have to deal with it. And right now, if I were Mario, I would definitely just, in this case, just summon Substitute, dump, special summon another swap, or in this case, you can try setting up for a Black Rose for the follow-up, but even then, totally awesome can negate. He does decide to special summon Swap Frog, dumps the Treeborn, and I guess he's probably going to just try negating Mirror Force, but totally awesome could negate Mirror Force again, so it's not looking too good. That's a turn 1 Omni negate, and once again he detaches the material to special summon a level 2 Water Aqua from his deck. He special summons another swap, dumps Unifrog. And in this case, he's just going to negate the Mirror Force, take it, and, turn 1 totally awesome. Good thing totally awesome wasn't around in Edison, because as you guys already know, Frogs is like tier 0, tier 1 for sure, constantly, debate if it's the best deck because of value, but definitely it's high ranking. And if you throw in an XYZ like totally awesome where it has an Omni negate, definitely would have made it the best deck in the format. He special summons, he's gonna synchro for 6, and Brionic, he doesn't even want to deal with the Mirror Force. I think in this case he probably just has the Miracle. He's probably looking to get rid of his opponent's board and then swing in for game. Considering he got rid of the Mirror Force, he can go ahead and he has no fear. But instead, he just decides to bounce back the Mirror Force attack. So we see Mario special summon the Treeborn. He sets another, summons a Junk, and Cameron does decide to negate. He sends the Dupe Frog again to negate it, and he keeps it on his side of the field. Then he uses Dupe Effect again to add swap to his hand. So
this would resolve in a greater death house. This is resolving to second part, and then the next thing to graveyard.
So yeah, I'm not sure if this works or doesn't, where you're able to negate dupe, or should I say send dupe with totally awesome, negate the card and set it, then search with dupe. Maybe there is, I'm not too familiar with that modern ruling. But if that's the case, that makes dupe playing 3 of dupe is insane, assuming that you play any one XYZ. Real effect, he discards, targets the back row, and at this point he just has to discard the rest. He discards, and now you can summon Synchro for 4 armor arm if you wanted to. Cameron debating on what to do. Ultimately, let's see, he's got 2 cards in his hand. He's gonna bounce back the Treeborn. On board at 63. So Cameron does decide to attack with Armory, attack with Totally Awesome, and attack with Real. That's 23. So yeah, GG. And that's a rough battle, right? Opening up an Omni-Negate and still having Spiritual Water Art to look at your opponent's hand. And opening up 1-for-1 Dandy, that I gotta admit, that was a gnarly hand from Cameron. He definitely, I say well played on that one, because even me being on the opponent's side, I don't think there was much you can do unless you have like Soroku special summon Gale and go for turn 1 Stardust to try to negate the substitute. It just makes it like an uphill battle to get rid of the actual Totally Awesome. Other than like Volcanic Queen, where you're able to tribute it, there's not many cards that you can just out it. In this matchup, I think it's kind of interesting. I think whoever goes first does have a huge advantage because you're able to set up by dumping the Treeborn, and then your opponent for follow-up would be in the 1-for-1 instance, right, where they would set a back row and pass turn because they don't want to get Kai'd. For the Treeborn special summon to tribute and get rid of your opponent's back row. So it gets pretty tricky when it comes to the mirror match. And an interesting thing that has happened to me is where I summon Swap Frog and I dump Treeborn. I'm potentially gonna special summon the Treeborn, but my opponent's inciting Vanity's Fiend, right? So something you guys gotta keep an eye out for is Vanity's Fiend, just because it's a sleeper card. And in the mirror match, it can be a blowout if you don't manage to draw your outs, which is like a Rikeki Break. For those of you guys that play Wing Blast or Torrential, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are many outs, but to say that you're going to see one of those outs in your 6 is not as likely than your opponent, having vanities and just being able to control the board and stop you from special summon. So that's why in this matchup, I guess Soul Exchange would be pretty good. Brain Control is the obvious giveaway that it's one of the better cards in the mirror match. But yeah, this is XYZ format. So best play turn 1 right now is Totally Awesome. Set up with a dupe block and Omni Negate. For those of you guys that are ever interested, please hit me up, message me, and if you guys want to be, participate in some of these events, let me know. We're always hosting these at least once a month, which is random things, either add a hand trap, play a band card, or XYZ, just to make Edison a little more fun. I'm not saying it's not fun already, but it is. It adds a little twist to it. So we do see Mario set a back row. He summons Substitute, Tribute, Special Swap, Stump to Treeborn, and let's see what he does. Is he gonna return the swap, or is he gonna leave it on board? Ultimately, he does decide to return it. Does he have salvage? If he had salvage, he'd be able to make his own Totally Awesome. And they're both debating. So he does set another back row. And Mario's still unsure what to do, and ultimately he gives his opponent his deck. So he does pass turn. We see Mario open up Trap Dust Shoot. Cameron chains MST, getting rid of the Mirror Force. He's got Scapegoat, Substitute, Kai'd, Uni, and Treeborn. So once again, as I mentioned earlier about that, whoever sets up first for Kai'd couldn't have a better advantage, right? Just because you're able to bait your opponent out He does summon Uni, attack directly, he sets 1. So now we know he has scapegoats and Uni face up. So, oh, you see, I'm not sure why he didn't special summon the Freeborn, but we do see Mario discard another swap to special summon. He tributes off the swap. I wonder if he's trying to negate or trying to bait out his opponent's back row. So he does special summon the swap. He dumps the substitute to try to deck in. Special summons Duke Frog. And he overlays for his own Totally Awesome. And Totally Awesome does declare an attack. Mario's thinking on what to do. He does let it go through. He gets rid of the Unifrog. Cameron takes the 18, passes turn. Standby phase, I believe Mario could have been able to special summon a level 2 Aqua from his deck, but he decides not to. And Cameron activates Soul Exchange, so he does tribute off his Totally Awesome, and then Totally Awesome's able to get a card back to his hand, so he does decide to get back a Swap Frog. He sets the Soul Exchange to his side of the field. And Cameron sets another and passes turn. So we know how Cameron has a set Treeborn and Caius in hand. Mario's got a Soul Exchange and Swap in hand. So he does decide to summon the Swap. And he does run over one of the tokens from the scapegoats. He set another card and returns the swap back to his hand. Cameron, oh my goodness, he hard drew into the heavy. That is just insane. Mario does have Solemn though. This is kind of interesting too, because we know one of the face downs is Soul Exchange, so if Cameron wanted to, he could have just tributed the Treeborn, gotten rid of the face down, and swing for some damage. And that's unless that's torrential. But he does summon another swap and returns to his hand, sets another back row. And what does Cameron do? He still passes turn. He's being very patient with this. Mario summon swap again, gets rid of, slowly getting rid of those tokens. Let's see, Cameron passes turn again, Mario draws, and then he gets rid of another token. So slowly but surely he's trying to get there. Well, ultimately Cameron does get into a knee call, and that emergency call will get him into Stratos effect to Surge. So now we know for sure it wasn't a torrential. Hypothetically, you would think that he would torrential here to save some life points. Cameron does add an Ocean to his hand. He swings in for Stratos for 18, puts him in low life. He got 3,800 after that, so. Mario debating on what to do. He's got like 6 cards in hand. There's no way. Oh no, he has to do Lightning Vortex on the Stratos, and that is not a good feeling. So Mario sets 1, passes turn. Yeah, I'm not sure what just happened there. That's kind of interesting. That was that Lightning Vortex was definitely not a play that I would have definitely gone for, but I guess it was his only play. He does go into tribute the Treeborn for Caius. He does have Spiritual Water Art, so he shows his, oh my goodness, double Miracle, Ocean, and Regeki Break. So Oh my goodness, and with that, that is game. He didn't have nothing in his hand. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's like no reason.
GG's. Well, thank you guys for being around, right? If you guys stuck around all the way to the end, give a like, give a follow. For sure, subscribe. Catch us on the next one. Got something hot for you guys coming up on the next video, so keep a lookout. Other than that, peace out.